Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Pipe Bomb Sessions. This week we are covering the championship games that just happened. Man, a lot of things just happened in the NFL. Two very different types of championship games, honestly speaking, happened last night. On top of that, we are going to cover a lot more of the OC, DC, as well as the head coaching positions. Of course, 4 out of the 10 coaching positions that were open are left. That's it. We're down to the top 4. I don't even know if you want to call them the top coaching positions since they're still open and left. Out of the 4, there's really one that I want to touch base on. That's, of course, everybody knows the Buffalo Bills position. The reason why that's one of the most prominent positions to take and even go after is because, of course, the man himself, former MVP, Josh Allen, is over there. Now, that's the great part about the Buffalo Bills job. The bad part about the Buffalo Bills job is that you got Josh Allen. The bad part is, and having Josh Allen is bad because you expect to show results. I get it. The owner of the Buffalo Bills said he does not expect this upcoming season to be Super Bowl or bust, but at the end of the day, they still got to compete for the division title. They still got to at least make it into the playoffs, maybe even get a victory to show, like, hey, the next head coach knows what he's doing. I did hear about a former, not only player, but former starting quarterback of this year's season, Philip Rivers, interviewing for the Buffalo Bills job. And I am hearing big rumors that Rivers will indeed be the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills. I can see that happening. And if the Buffalo Bills do choose to go with Rivers, I can definitely see Brian Daboll following and going back to Buffalo as an OC. And possibly that's what they need. Let's see if that's really what is going to shape up and happen in Buffalo. I do know that Josh Allen is sitting in and, taking in all the freaking things about, hey, who are they going to coach? Who's going to come up? Who's going to be the guy, right? You know what I mean? Now, actually, I'm now hearing out of nowhere that Philip Rivers actually just withdrew from the position. Oh, so this is breaking news in itself. If Philip Rivers is no longer looking at the Buffalo Bills position, that probably means he's not going to coach. That's just my personal opinion. I know they were really high on Philip Rivers and even willing to bring him in, but if Rivers is out, who is Buffalo going to see at? I know they were trying to look at the OC of the Jaguars at one point. I know they were waiting for the championship games to be done this week because they want to go interview Davis Webb, the pass game coordinator of the Denver Broncos. Of course, we saw what he did with Bo Nix, and that might be what they're looking for in a sense. I'm just not really sure who the Buffalo Bills are going to take. I feel like that is another position that's just a little wishy-washy because of the results that may have to come with the job. The thing is, yeah, you got Josh Allen. Amazing. The thing is, there's so many holes everywhere else on that roster that a coach is going to have to come in and fill in a lot of them. I mean, yeah, you don't expect a team to be turned around. You don't expect them to fill in every single hole. But yeah, hey, why don't we fix up that O-line? Why don't we fix up a little bit of that defense? Defense getting a little bit on the older side of things. Of course, you have a great running back in James Cook. You got that really covered. Of course, I already mentioned Josh Allen, MVP, and future Hall of Famer, I would assume, at least at this point. Man, Josh Allen just needs some type of assistance. They need to get my man some receivers, give him some help over there. Like, this is not how you win a Super Bowl. This is not even how you compete in the Super Bowl. But I've seen crazier things happen, right? Good coaching can turn things around. Sean McDermott, he had a positive record for all these years. The problem was that he was only 8-8 when it came to the postseason, including, of course, their arch rivals, the Kansas City Chiefs. They just couldn't beat them. And this year, they don't even get that far. Do I think if Josh Allen would have went to the championship game this past weekend, would he have won? Yeah, there's a good chance the Buffalo Bills would be going into their first Super Bowl. But again, Josh Allen trying to do everything himself a couple weeks ago, him trying to put the team on his back, doing costly turnovers, having one of the worst performances we've seen of Josh Allen's career in the postseason. And that resulted of them, of course, being bounced and sitting at home. And now they're in a search. Sean McDermott's out. I think he's gonna probably take a year off of coaching, maybe return next year, possibly type of deal. Would not be surprised by that at all. Now, there's three more teams that I would like to touch base on. I'm gonna go to, I think, actually the worst team that you could really possibly get into just because of how their history is, and that could be the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals, we don't know what we saw from them this year, right? Like they went 3-14. Jonathan Gannon was just not the guy there for the 3 seasons that he was there. I mean, I don't know about the Cardinals' job. They need to figure out who their quarterback's going to be next year. They need to figure out they need to figure out how they can even reach the playoffs, how they can even finish better than third place in the NFC West, because I feel like they're always in third or worse in the NFC West. So like, yeah, the Cardinals offense is not too bad when it's healthy, but like Marvin Harrison Jr., he needs to get things better. Of course, they have an all-pro star, future Hall of Famer tight end in Trey McBride. He is solid. He's great. You got an upcoming young star in Michael Wilson. On the opposite side of things, you got one of my favorite players is safety, Buda Baker. You got Walter Nolan, young stud. That man is a stud at D tackle, nose tackle. Like he's gonna be great for them. And the former Eagle and Super Bowl champ himself, Josh Sweat. I think he's a great edge rusher, and he proved it again this year, even on a decimated, injury-riddled Arizona team. Now, the issue here is they need to spend some money, but not only spend some money, they need to really accolade where they want to spend that money. And they need to figure out, like, right now, is Kyler Murray going to return? Now, in my opinion, Kyler Murray's stock value went up. Reason being, Dante Moore said he is not going to come out into the draft this year, so he's going back to college. That basically means that Mendoza's going 1 to Vegas, in my opinion. Vegas is going to take him at 1, and that's going to be that. The quarterback class was already a little bit on the weaker side compared to, let's say, the year after that's going to happen. Now, with the Cardinals seeing that, maybe teams who want a quarterback and think they're a QB away, things like that, maybe they give Arizona a call. Say, hey, Kyler Murray available? We're willing to trade for him. That could be something to at least give him some more draft capital. Try to fix that job. You know what I mean? I think that could be that could be what Arizona needs to do. Arizona's just it's a spiral of a place right now. Whoever's going to come in there has a lot of cleaning up to do, in my opinion, and they need to really just get things together. Of course, like I said, they had a lot of injuries, so you never know. Now, a team that didn't really have a lot of injuries, I would say, they had the defensive player of the year this year. They had the man who literally broke the sack record, Myles Garrett, and team he plays on, the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Browns, of course, fired Stefanski, 2-time NFL head coach of the year, of course. Didn't really have a good 2025 year, only had 5 wins. And of course, we had the whole Sanders situation of him freaking they have so many different QBs over there that I don't even know what they are going to do. The next coach has to come in and decide what he wants to do with the quarterback situation. I mean, you still got Watson, for God's sake. You traded for a guy who did absolutely nothing for you since he's gotten to Cleveland. Now, I don't know if you even get rid of him because of the cap hit. So there's him. You still got Sanders. You still got Gabriel. And I believe they have another guy there as well right now. I may be wrong on that part, but they have at least 3 guys. And they're probably looking to draft a QB for some odd reason. I don't know. I think you should take a chance of just developing one of these guys, let them compete. But I'm hearing that the Browns may bring in another quarterback from the draft. Whether it's early or late is beyond me. I have no clue what they're doing. But you're going to bring in another guy. You're really going to just, in my opinion, waste more of Myles Garrett's prime. Just like, come on, guys. The defense is not bad in Cleveland. That's the thing. The offense is in shambles. My goodness. And like what are you guys gonna do? You traded for Watson, your GM did that, and you didn't fire him. Like why is he still in Cleveland when you let Stefanski go? Like you should let both of them go at the same time. Like kind of get more open with everything. Let someone new come in and kind of take over the whole org. But hey, man, Cleveland's gonna do what they do best, and that is be very mediocre. No offense to them, and just be bad. I don't understand what they're attempting to do. Um, Again, they have the cap room. They have some money to accolade. I don't think the defense really needs a lot of bolstering. Offense needs very much a lot of help, as well as get whoever your quarterback is going to be some assistance. Like you got the sixth overall pick in the upcoming draft. You could do something with that. Let's not be like afraid to maybe do some things here and like fix the O line, man. Like this is just not good. The O line looked very very questionable all year long, and I believe this offseason they're about to lose 4 out of those 5 guys. That is insane if they lose as many as 4 out of the 5 starting offensive linemen for them. They're gonna need to redo that whole O line, and I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. Right now, that brings me to the final head coaching position that is indeed open right now, and that is Vegas, Las Vegas Raiders. I actually think they're a very interesting position because the Raiders thought they were going to compete this year. They brought in Pete Carroll. They traded for Geno Smith. Very, very veteran-like mindsets from both of them, of course. You know, Geno being as old as like 35, I believe, and you got a 74-year-old head coach coming in. And they ended up only getting 3 wins of the season. Funny enough, one of those wins was against a team competing in the Super Bowl, and that's the New England Patriots. But that's just funny in my opinion. Like, hey, look at that. They started the season off with a W against a team that's in the Super Bowl right now, and then that was it. They only got 2 more wins after that, which was oof. Now the number 1 overall pick. They need a head coach. Of course, I think Tom Brady is also going to be assisting with that, just that search type of deal. And that's a team that you got some stars in offense. You got Genty. You got, of course, Brock Bowers, who's a stud. On defense, you got at least Crosby. You know he's a star. Either you trade him to get many more assets all at once because Crosby can bring in a haul for you, or you attempt to convince Crosby to stay and then tell him that you are indeed going to build a good roster around him in order to do something. I mean, this man has been just seeing coach after coach. The Raiders are going to be hiring their 5th coach, I believe, since 2021. That is insane. Like that is something they do not have, which is stability and consistency. They need that. And I think this is bigger than the Raiders themselves. They have the money. They spend the money. They just can't hit the home runs. I think, in my opinion, this is where Tom Brady is really going to assist them. I think Brady's mindset, the way he's going to come in and try to just work the inside of that job, be like, hey, maybe it's just this type of deal. I believe that can help him. Of course, the Raiders have the 2nd most cap room on the freaking year. I mean, that's not bad at all. And I know that he is going, and he potentially could already be the OC of the Chargers, but Mike McDaniel still is interested in the job. Like, if I'm the Raiders, I would possibly even try to just go get McDaniel as much as you can. I mean, the guy had a chance to interview for the Bills job, and he declined him. So, in my opinion, McDaniel's saying, like, hey, I'll come to Vegas, or if you don't want me to come to Vegas, no worries. I'm just going to go to LA and just go with the Chargers as an OC. McDaniel has been very open to saying he's okay with returning to an OC role if he doesn't get a head coaching gig. And I do believe that they're going to give a shot to McDaniel. If they don't, I'm not really sure on who is going to go over there. Man, it's a lot of things going on. You know what I mean? Very, very interesting in my opinion. Okay, so let me touch base. Let me go backwards a little bit now. I mentioned the 4 out of the 10 that were not hired Now, the other 6 that have been hired, of course, the New York Giants got John Harbaugh. Harbaugh, former head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. He is going to try to bring some of his staff with him if he can, and he's taking over a roster that's young, developing. He can work with a lot of people, you know what I mean? So it's gonna be very, very interesting. Let's see. Let's see if OC Todd Monken actually comes with Harbaugh, if Harbaugh wants him to come and, possibly do that as well. I believe that the Giants are going to be going into next year in a very interesting position. Maybe Harbaugh does turn them around, but we have seen how this type of situation has happened in New York. So let's just wait and see what happens, right? Now, down in Atlanta, we got Kevin Stefanski. He got hired. I actually think that's a really good hire for them. Like, that's a 2-time head coach of the year, offensive mindset, and honestly, like, I think it's a good recipe for Bijan. I don't know what's gonna happen with the Michael Penix situation, but Bijan, Kyle Pitts finally showing up to who he is, and Drake London, I don't think that's a bad recipe at all. Their O-line is not bad either. Of course, it could happen somewhat, but Stefanski's going to come in. He's going to try to get them into the playoffs, right? The Falcons haven't touched the playoffs in quite some time, and the NFC South, I believe, is actually open for business for whoever is going to win that division. I mean, for God's sake, the Saints were about a game out when it came to the end of the season from getting into the playoffs themselves instead of the Panthers. The NFC South is weak. We know that. He knows that. And they can kind of bring in and see if Stefanski had turned those guys around. I think it's very interesting. Now, a position where I was actually a little shocked was the Miami Dolphins, that they got Jeff Hafley from the Packers. And, of course, the Packers, I believe, hired Jonathan Gannon as their DC after losing Hafley. This is very interesting. I think Hafley, even though he's a defensive-minded coach, and Miami is most likely going to lean into his strengths of fixing up the defense and really bolstering that, making that even better. But the offense, I mean, yes, you have A-Chain as a star. You got to figure out who the hell is going to be your quarterback. Again, another team QB situation. So I'm not sure who's it going to be. Is it still going to be Tua? Are you going to just keep taking risks? Are you going to try to draft a QB in a weaker QB draft class? The O-line is, of course, a little bit on the younger side, but it is improving. It is improving. And so, Dolphins jumped on it, got Hafley. I get it. And a team that I actually thought did a pretty decent hire was the Tennessee Titans when they got Robert Saleh. I think let Saleh come in. Of course, the whole Jets situation when he was a head coach there was just bad. But the defense was good. Remember, Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded head coach. Look what he just did to a decimated Niners defensive team, and he still had them kind of competing somewhat, at least, Though, like, he had injuries all over the board on that side. But at the end of the day, Saleh, I don't believe, is a bad head coach. I think he was in a bad situation, and I do believe that Saleh could be that guy to stabilize the Tennessee Titans after they've been really up and down for many, many years, right? Now, he is going to call the defensive side of the ball, defensive plays in Tennessee, so I think that's very interesting. Let's see who the Titans want to hire on the offensive side to develop Cam Ward to that next level. Now, there's a few plays that Saleh can make here. Of course, he could go get Dabble. He can, of course, go get Matt Nagy. I think he's also a guy that could possibly, be someone who comes in, especially because he has some kind of relationship with the GM over there. And I think that could be someone they're looking at, right? Now, the next position is interesting. That's Jesse Minter getting hired for the Ravens job. Ravens job, very interesting job. Of course, you got another MVP guy there, and you got a defense that has talent. They just didn't show up last year. So why don't we get them going? I actually think that Jesse Minter is going to fix up that defense, is going to help bolster that Baltimore Ravens defense to the next level and help them out for sure. The question now is, what are we going to see from the offensive side of the ball? We still have Lamar, we still have Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, and Mark Andrews, if they, of course, bring Likely back. But Andrews is there for some time. Let's see if bolstering up that defense and letting Lamar do Lamar type of things next season, fully healthy Lamar, is that going to bring them back into the postseason and into the race for a Lombardi trophy? I believe that the Ravens do have a good shot. This was a very good play by them, in my opinion, and I think it's smart. Now, the next and the final thing of coaching hiring was Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, Mike Tomlin, he did not get fired. He retired. He said, "I'm done." You know, even if someone wants him, even though he's not gonna coach this year. He's not. Right? Let's forget it. Now, who they did grab was another veteran coach in Mike McCarthy. Now, that isn't that interesting, right? They got Mike McCarthy, a guy who actually beat them in one of the Super Bowls, first Super Bowl ring. Now, that's actually pretty funny. McCarthy is, man, he's not a bad head coach. He does lead teams to the playoffs, but the Steelers need to get over the hump. And the Steelers are another team. Like, the question is, who's going to be their quarterback going into next season? I feel like I'm not really sure who's going to be their QB, right? I just don't understand. And is Rodgers going to return? I've heard rumors of he's done. I've heard rumors that, hey, he may actually return for them. We don't know this, right? So let's see how it goes. Of course, I also heard earlier today that, you know, the Jaguars OC did indeed withdraw from the Browns head coaching job, which means the Bills, I assume, are going all in on that, right? All in on him. It's either him or they want, of course, Davis Webb's possibly. He's getting interviews all over the place, including the Raiders as well. Now, I want to hit up a OC position that's been open for quite some time, and all I'm seeing is bad for them, and it's not looking good. And that's the Philadelphia Eagles. They've been in search for OC since they got eliminated from the playoffs. They've attempted to get interviews. They've attempted to bring people in, and they have failed miserably. There are coaches who rather get promoted in their same thing than go to Philadelphia and take over what is a rather talented offense, but very volatile offense. You know, of course, you got Barkley, you got Hurts, you got Smitty, you got AJ Brown, Goddard. O-line is not bad, even though, in my opinion, the Eagles have to look at the O-line and have to figure out an answer at the center position, and maybe even just let Landon Dickerson really rest up and get fully healthy, because he did not look healthy this year. Mailata had a lot of flags this year, of course. Lane Johnson got hurt at the end of the year. Let's see if he's going to return. I expect him to return for the Philadelphia Eagles. However, at the same time, I would not be surprised if he did not fully return to the Eagles, right? Now, two people who the Eagles are really high on, again, now withdrew this week. Both those guys are Bears OC, Declan Doyle. They were really high on him. They wanted to get him in just for an interview. He straight up says he's staying with Ben Johnson and he's going to keep remaining with Chicago. Big L that they took. And of course, they wanted the LSU OC, Charlie Weiss Jr., and he said that he's not leaving LSU. So he's now staying there. I'm not really sure who the Eagles are going to really grab at this point. I mean, they're running out of names very, very quickly. And I'm not sure who's really going to be left on the board for them to grab. Man, as last year's Super Bowl champs, I would be getting quite worried for the Philadelphia Eagles right now because it doesn't seem like they're going to get who they want at OC, and if they have to settle, in my honest opinion, the Philadelphia Eagles will be not only looking for a new OC again next year, but they will most likely be looking for a head coach going to next year as well. Of course, this could also have to do with the fact that rumors and reports about the confidence in Jalen Hurts not being the same as it was in the past. Is the Philadelphia environment a deterrence for head coaches and possibly candidates saying, you know what, I don't even want to deal with that situation, not going to touch it? Is A.J. Brown even going to be an Eagle coming into next year? I think there's a lot of things that the former Super Bowl champs have to look at. They have to look at themselves in the mirror and really figure out what the hell is their identity and what are they going to do, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to wrap it up real quick, right? Of course, I want to just touch base real quick on both the championship games. Of course, the Patriots are now facing the Seahawks in a Super Bowl rematch from the past, Super Bowl 60, Pats, Seattle. Simple as that. Now, the Pats won a crazy slugfest against a backup quarterback. They won 10-7. Some questionable calls when it came to Sean Payton. In my opinion, he should have just kicked the field goal instead of going for on fourth down. You know you have a backup quarterback. Points may not come as easily as you may expect, and unfortunately, that is what happened towards the end. And then the snowstorm happened later on in the fourth quarter, which totally changed the dynamics of this game. And man, the Patriots offense, like, I get it. They were facing elite defense, they were getting pressure and all that stuff, but Patriots offense only had 105 yards of total offense in that whole game. That kind of worries me. Drake May didn't even throw for 100 yards. That kind of worries me. So, like, what are we going to see when it comes to Super Bowl? Of course, they have a couple weeks, get things together. Weather is not going to be a situation when it comes to it. So possibly, maybe we see a different type of Drake May, right? Let me flip things now. Of course, we saw the Seattle Seahawks hanging on, even though Stafford attempted to do a late effort, giving it to Puka. Puka was out of bounds. Game was over. That's it. Another, in my opinion, all these head coaches nowadays like going for a fourth down. I get it. Go for it. You're trying to win the game. But it's 27-31. Kick the field goal, man. It's 4th and 4. Do not go for it. Kick the field goal. Make it a 1-point game. You still have a whole quarter in the fourth quarter to play with. And you only need a field goal now. You're not aggressively going for touchdowns. I think that was a difference maker. And I'm sure Sean McVay, I'm not sure if he does regret his decision or not, but I believe that he probably does. It's kind of like what happened with the Dan Campbell situation a few years ago where he went for it too many times. A fourth down, just didn't take the points against the Niners. Dude, this is your shot to get into the Super Bowl. Take your points. You ended up losing by 4. Think about it. You come to the end of that game, you're only down 1. Now, that final possession with like 30 seconds left is totally different. You're not going for a Hail Mary shot at the end of the game rather than just trying to move the ball, give Mavis a goddamn field goal attempt to try to win it. And that's it. It didn't happen. Of course, they didn't get the 4th and 4, didn't convert. Seattle's going to the Super Bowl. Now, I mentioned this a week ago. Seattle's top down, most complete team I've seen this year. Offense, defense, special teams. Darnold, I had doubts about him. Darnold has proven me completely wrong. He is a stud so far in the playoffs, man. He has gotten this confidence that has been great for him, great for Seattle, and now they are playing in the Super Bowl. Man, now I am actually not going to make my prediction on the Super Bowl this week. You guys can tune in next week to get my first takes, first real deep conversation about what I think this Super Bowl is going to happen and what may happen, why maybe even the Patriots are going to be a closer matchup than people are believing. That's why I just need a little bit of time to see, you know what, let's see what does happen. Of course, the Pats' future looks great no matter what happens in the Super Bowl. I even think the Seattle future looks great because they took a gamble on Darnold and it paid off significantly and amazingly. So, you know what? For this week, we're going to cover more about the head coaching positions, different DCOC openings right now. We, of course, got the Super Bowl coming up in a couple weeks. And if you guys are into it, don't forget to watch the Pro Bowl this upcoming weekend. Shoot. Hey, if you want to, go ahead. I'm in shock they even still do the Pro Bowl, if I'm being honest with you guys. Damn. But hey, appreciate you guys listening this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe as always. And don't forget to tune in next week for my Super Bowl predictions and seeing what's truthfully on my mind and gonna happen.